Hi and welcome back to the Live Your Best Life podcast, and today we're talking limiting beliefs and self-sabotage, why you're stuck and how to break free. It's an episode I think so many people need to hear, because if you've ever felt like you're doing all the right things, you're setting your goals, visualising, trying to stay positive, but somehow still not getting the results you want, this might be the missing piece. So we're talking about limiting beliefs and self-sabotage, what they are, where they come from, and most importantly, how we start breaking free from them. So what are limiting beliefs? These are the stories you tell yourself about who you are, what you're capable of, and what's possible for your life. They're usually not loud or obvious. They're often very quiet, subtle, autonomic. Things like, I'm not disciplined enough, I always fail, I'm not good enough, people like me don't succeed at that. And the thing is, most of the time we don't even question them, we just accept these as truth. But they're not facts, they're just learned patterns. So personally, a limiting belief I've had is that good things don't happen to people like me. Now, this is a phrase I heard my parents say over and over as a child, and when you're growing up, and that is the outlook on life that you grow up with, it's very difficult to shake that. So this is a belief that I took into adult life, that I would work really hard, but ultimately I just didn't believe that I would be successful beyond a certain level. And once I was aware of this limiting belief and realised actually it was just something I thought, because of something my parents thought, I realised it was actually a belief that I could break free from. And I can honestly say that all the things I'm probably most proud of in my life have been since I broke that belief. So all my success as an athlete, trying out for the British bobsleigh team and winning medals on the America's Cup, becoming world champion in Masters Athletics, and the multiple titles in bodybuilding are all things that I achieved once I'd realised that this limiting belief wasn't true. Now, I grew up with a family that believed that they were poor, and I also believed that that phrase also meant that I would never be rich. And this is another thing that I've realised is also not true. So I'm currently recording this on a private beach in a hotel in Abu Dhabi, and I can tell you that there's not been a single other person on this beach all day. It's a beautiful sunny day. I can just hear the water in the background, and my feet are just on the sand right now. Now, the way this manifested for me is that I always managed to do the things that I wanted to do, but I always felt like I was doing it on a budget with the least possible stuff that I needed to do whatever the goal was. Whereas now I manifest for unexpected abundance and experiences and upgrades. And this trip, for example, when we got on our flight, we had paid for upgraded seats so that we'd have a bit of extra leg room, but once we got on the flight attendant came straight over to us and asked us if we'd like to move and have a whole row each so that we could sleep for the 6 hours on our night flight, which was very much appreciated. So we were moved to better seats where we could be more comfortable. And when we got to this hotel, I sat by the pool, the only person by the pool. I came down to the private beach, and we have been the only people on the beach all day, and this feels like a very bougie, uplifted experience. It definitely wasn't what we felt we'd booked, but we feel like we're getting so much more for what we booked. And this is just an example of how when you change that limiting belief and start to imagine having the luxury things, you no longer feel like you're doing things on a budget. So, where do these limiting beliefs come from? Limiting beliefs are formed early on usually, and then reinforced over time. So they can often be because of childhood experiences, and like me, things that people said to me. They can be society expectations from wherever you grew up. Or your past failures or setbacks might have made you believe that that was all that you were capable of. Your brain's job is to keep you safe, not successful. So once it forms a belief, it looks for evidence to prove that. And this is where everything links back to what we've talked about before. Your focus, your awareness, your reticular activating system. And if you haven't listened to that episode, do go back and find it. So your brain will search for evidence of whatever you're telling it. So if you tell it you're poor and you're unsuccessful, it will find evidence for that. But if you tell yourself that you are rich and that you are confident and that you are capable, your brain will also start to look for evidence of that. If you believe you're not good enough, everything you notice will just confirm that. So what is self-sabotage? This is what happens when those beliefs start controlling your actions. It's when you procrastinate on things that matter, or you just quit before you see the results, or you overthink things instead of taking action. You stay in your comfort zone even when you want more. And this isn't just laziness, it's not a lack of desire, it's your brain protecting you. Your mind is trying to keep you in what feels familiar and comfortable, even if that's not actually what you want. So, why does this keep us stuck? Well, there's a cycle. If you have a belief, that belief shapes your actions. Those actions create your results, and those results reinforce the belief. And so you go round in circles. I'm not consistent, I skip workouts, therefore you get no results, and then you believe you're not consistent. Until you break that belief and break that cycle and take action, that cycle is just going to keep continuing. So how do we break this pattern? Awareness is the first step, but we need more than this, and this is how we actually start to shift things. Firstly, we need to identify the belief. So ask yourself, what do I believe about the particular area of my life that I'm thinking about? So this could be financial, it could be in relationships, it could be lifestyle, it could be in your career. If you've not got what you want, is there a limiting belief in that area? What story are you telling yourself about who you are in that situation right now? And I would urge you to write this down and be really clear about it, because once you know what these beliefs are, then you can start to work on breaking free. So once you've got the limiting belief, whatever that is it actually true, or is it just something you've repeated over and over? And start looking for evidence against it, because I'm sure you can prove that what you're telling yourself hasn't always been true. And I did this for myself. I had other successes in my career and in my education that I knew that this wasn't true, but the reinforced belief just felt more real. Now, how can we replace it? We can't jump straight from feeling like we're a failure or feeling we're not good enough to suddenly being amazing at everything. Your brain just won't accept that. So we need to shift gradually. So we can say things like, I'm learning to become more consistent. I'm improving every day. I'm capable of changing. I'm becoming more confident. This makes it believable, and it will help you then take the next step, which is aligned action. And this is the most important part, because you don't break beliefs by just thinking differently. You break them by acting differently. And these are just the small actions that you can take to prove that that story you've been telling yourself is not true. So this would be showing up when you just don't feel like it. So if it's fitness, for example, you've maybe set yourself a weight loss goal or a fitness goal, and you've been skipping the gym sessions, so you feel like you're a person who just can't stick to it. So you get your kit ready, it's by the bed, it's the first thing you think about when you get up in the morning, the clothes there, you put the clothes on and you head out the door. Every time you do that, you're reinforcing that you are the type of person who shows up. You're keeping those promises that you made just for yourself, and you're doing that uncomfortable thing. And every time you do this, you create new evidence of a new story of who you are. Now, you're going to have to expect some resistance on this, because when you start changing, it's going to feel uncomfortable, and you might feel like you want to quit, and you might feel some doubt about it. That doesn't mean it's not working. It just means you're stepping outside of your old identity. How do we stop self-sabotaging in the moment? When you notice yourself slipping back into those old patterns, just pause and ask yourself, what am I avoiding right now? And what would the version of me that I want to become, what would they do instead? And then just do one small action in that direction. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just needs to be different than your usual pattern. So, the moment you catch yourself in a pattern and change it, this is when everything starts to change. And if you can take one thing from this episode, let it be this. You're not stuck because you're incapable. You're stuck because of patterns, and patterns can be changed. Your beliefs are not fixed, they're flexible. Your thoughts are not who you are, you can change them. And the moment you start questioning them, you start to take your power back. If this episode has resonated with you, take a few minutes today just to write down one limiting belief that's been holding you back, and start challenging it and start changing it. And if you'd like some structure around this, you can always have a look at my 30-day non-negotiable habit challenge, because this is where you can start to build habits to build that new version of you. And I've also created a year-long 52-week goal-setting journal that takes it a step further, and all the details of that are in my show notes. And these are just tools that can help just bring some structure while you build the new life that you're looking for. Thank you for listening. I hope it's been helpful, and I'll see you again next week.